stick to the basics. We both know what we want, let's just keep it simple. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. We dance on the same wavelength. This feels like a new beginning. We both know what we want, let's just keep it simple. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. So won't you let me trip, trip, trip with you? Leading and falling.
What up? Hi guys, welcome to another episode of AJAWI TV, where we discuss architectural and construction related topics. I'm your host, I'm AJAWI. Welcome guys, it's another week, another day, another opportunity for us to do great things. So yes, I'm your host, I'm AJAWI, for those of you that don't know. For those that are new, welcome to the channel. It's all about you. It's all about helping you as returning residents, right? I am a young entrepreneur who loves helping returning residents return to Jamaica, do construction, design their home, and enjoy, right? For those that are here early, bless up yourself. I am hoping that this session will be a interactive one. I decided to give some time on Sundays talking to you about architecture and construction related topics, right? Based on my view, my perspective over the past 14, 13 years within the construction industry and as a young entrepreneur, right? So Mark Hugh Spence, big up yourself. Unknown, big up yourself. For today, we have a very interesting question, right? I personally thought about this question because I was doing some research on it for my studies, and I decided to just speak to you guys about it, right? I like the conversation, as I said before, to really pick our brains and to really see where you are coming from as a returning resident, right? So that's what this live is about. The question for today, or the topic for today, is solution or housing solutions for returning residents, right? I have 3 questions that I'll be asking you guys, and you guys will be telling me what you think, what's your perspective, what's your experience, right? 3 questions. Are there housing solutions specifically for returning residents? That's one question. Second question is, are returning residents charged extra when buying houses, right? And the third question, do you think the available housing solutions are safe, secure, and appropriate for returning residents? Those are the questions that I have for today, right? Those are the questions that I have today, right? Yes, guys, Mark Hugh Spence said it, like as you enter, right? That's our social contract here. I love your participation, so your participation will mean a lot to me, right? So please, as you come in, hit the like button, right? The way the prices are so high, I would say all the solutions are for returning residents. Yeah, so that's question number, which question is that? 2. No. That's question 1, right? Question 1 is, are there housing solutions specifically for returning residents? Based on the housing market, right? Based on the housing market that's there now. What are your experience buying houses, or even land? What type of prices are you seeing, right? For me personally, it's kind of a two-way street, all right? But you do have a point, Matthew Lynn. Big up yourself. Yeah, based on the way the prices are within the market, you would assume that it is for returning residents only. For some reason, it's kind of geared towards that. There is this notion, or you see, where prices within the market, the housing market within Jamaica, they start to price it in US dollars, Why? Why are Jamaicans buying houses now thinking about exchange rate when buying a house? Why do I need to be thinking about, oh, this is 300,000 US dollars when I'm a Jamaican? Why do I need to buy a house that is priced in US dollars, right? So are they saying that it's only those that are returning home that should be buying these houses? Is that the situation, or are they geared towards people who are earning in US dollars? Yeah, that's a question to think about, right? So my personal experience is that I on the market right now you're seeing where house prices are in US dollars. So what do you think? Tell me what you think. Do you think that that's kind of, I believe it's unfair. It's unfair because why do I need to be buying land or a house in US dollars? And sometimes these houses are very expensive, so expensive that if the dollar value shift today, you get knocked, right? Because remember, because the dollar value is so volatile or changing continuously. As a Jamaican, if I'm buying a house and I'm living in Jamaica, earning Jamaican dollars, the price that I have today doesn't have to be the price tomorrow, simply because it is quoted in US dollars, right? Wayne Smith thinks Jamaica houses are way overpriced. I have to agree with you on that, especially in areas where apartments are going, right? In certain areas in Kingston, because I've heard people say that they have bought houses for like within the 1990s or 80s, something like that, and them say, oh, them buy it for like what, $3,000, something like that, and now in that area it's like really, really expensive, right? You can't buy a house up, let's see, an area that is not necessarily high up there. Let's say Meadowbrook. Buying a land or house in that area right now is very expensive, right? Very expensive. But Ricey, big up yourself, big up yourself. Wayne Smith, big up yourself as well. Matthew Lane, big up yourself. Yeah, because houses within these areas has gone up, and the reason why houses within this area have gone up is because apartments are within this area, right? And as a returning resident, let me ask you this. As I said, the question is, our housing solution there specifically for returning residents? So are there housing solutions specifically for returning residents, right? The houses have no character. What are they paying for? The rush they get walking outside and nothing, and not getting killed. So you're saying that the houses have no character. Yeah. And what they're paying for is the security. Is that what you're saying? Remember, some of these houses are not necessarily in wait, I said the well sought after communities. So like, look at the one around the housing solution that they recently did around Mountain View, right? Mountain View is like a stone throw away. They're like right across from the stadium. So would you consider that an area where they're not going to be in any problems as it relates to like violence? Is that what you're saying? And those houses are very expensive. So is it that they are specifically targeting returning residents with the price, but not necessarily the community? That's a question to answer, right? So, I mean, personally, again, I will think that I will think that some of these communities don't necessarily have any character. Yes, I agree. I agree. But at the same time, remember, they're not designing for one particular person where they get to specify what they want and the look that they want. They're trying to do mass production of houses. So, yeah, Wayne Smith agrees with you, saying that yes, they're more like boxes, right? All right. So, yeah, you have a point. For the apartments. Well, come to think of it, all of the houses are pretty much like boxes. But a box is not a bad thing. Box maximizes the area that you can possibly use. Nothing is wrong with that. Why do you guys love arches so much and circles and triangles on the houses? I mean, at the end of the day, remember, these shapes, they look good, but most of the times you don't utilize the space, right? But look at what returning resident is coming from. What do you mean by that? Jamar Perin. What do you mean by that? Most of the houses that are being sold are apartments that are going up. Yes, they are boxes, but some of them are really beautiful. They are really nice. I think it's you that have to go in there and really make it your own. If you get what I mean at the end of the day, because nobody can. You're just getting an empty shell, so it's really up to you, right? But I agree to some extent. But remember, they're not designing this nice thing for you to see the different shapes and all of that. They want something that they can come in and get out quickly. Now, let me ask you this. As a returning resident, these apartments that you see going up, one, do you think that they're specifically aimed at you, or they're targeting you as a returning resident? One, and two, do you think they're fairly priced? Do you think that they're fairly priced? Because some of these apartments, I've seen apartments going for 100 million. I've seen apartments going for 50 million, right? And remember, you don't get a backyard, and you still have to pay a monthly strata to keep the apartment. So when you buy the apartment, yes, it is yours, but you still have to pay that strata, which sometimes is the price of rent, right? It's the price of rent. You're paying $100 million for an apartment, or $50 million Jamaican for an apartment, and you still have to pay a monthly fee for the area. Do you think that that is geared more towards returning residents, or the regular smegular Jamaican person who I don't see as somebody who is going to really buy into that just like that? Because at the end of the day, if you're not really well stable, buying an apartment for 100 million and then paying a monthly fee, because I've heard people say the strata is about $30,000 for their apartment. I've heard people say that. Right? So do you think that is an ideal situation to be in as a Jamaican? Right? I know personally I would not want to be in such a situation where I'm paying like 30 grand for what you call it, a strata, when I already paid so much money to buy it, right? Not Jamaicans at all. Let's see what Mark Spence is saying. It's a buyer's market. No. It's a seller's market, I believe. Buyer's market. These apartments are extremely high. These prices only attract returning residents. Now, I have some Jamaicans over there where I push out some money for it. But I don't think it's a buyer's market. I think it's a seller's market, really, because The person who is selling it, they just make them price, and you have to either buy or walk away. So I don't think it's really a buyer's market. More people that gets transferred there for work. More for people that gets transferred there for work. What do you mean? As in, but if you're buying it, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Put that in another way. Alright? Put that in another way. Remember, if you're buying into an apartment, you have to consider strata, and sometimes these stratas are high. But remember, the strata does go into maintaining the apartment, making sure that things are taken care of, right? So it's kind of not so good in my eyes, right? But look at it this way. Look at it this way. As somebody young, right? As somebody young, why am I in a situation where I'm buying an apartment and then I'm looking at paying strata, right? That is very high. Should I be more thinking about the low income, or should I be thinking about buying a piece of land and then building over time, right? The other question that goes to, and that doesn't mean that we discard this question, right? So the first question, as I said before, are there housing solutions specifically for returning residents, right? There should be a fair market cap. I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. I believe that as somebody who is doing a development, there should be that market value that you don't go over. So as it relates to selling, right? Because at the end of the day, a lot of people not going to be able to buy it, right? Them shit, big up yourself, right? A lot of people are not going to be able to buy. So yeah, the market cap is a good idea, but it should be a free market. So at the end of the day, you can't really beat a man for really invest his money, right? To really invest his money and sell it at whatever markup he wants. On another hand, somebody did say to me recently, or somebody on the channel did say, because returning residents are willing to buy, the developers are willing to sell at these prices. So it's not like if a property is overpriced, returning residents are going to say, boy, this is overpriced, so I'm not going to buy, and then it's unilateral across the board. It's going to be, somebody's going to be there to buy it. So the developer is all about making the money at the end of the day, so you can't really blame them. Jamar, he said, these overseas companies that hire the local people for the grunt work and send in their management for the different, I'm not seeing the rest of that, hold on, let me see if we can, okay. From a different country, the company would be who own the property. Yeah, I've seen that. I don't know why this thing, I need to move that. Anyways, yes, I've seen that. I've seen where different companies buy properties and then send in people from overseas to work in a particular location. So for example, some of these houses up at Norbrook, Cherry Gardens, they're owned by a company and then they're rented to people like dignitaries and, you know, people who are probably working in certain companies, and all of their expenses are covered and they just use those houses, right? And the management company take care of that company. So that's another idea that you can look into as a returning resident. If you have a property, maybe you want to rent to dignitaries, and you just build a house, in a desired community, and then you rent it to people that work in certain companies. It's a market. But yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you, right? I agree with you 100%, right? Yeah. So my answer to that question is this. I think I think um developers do target returning residents, right? They do target returning residents. Um and that is why you see some of these properties, they are mainly priced in US dollars, right? So it's just the reality of it. Is it specifically for returning residents? No. If you have a if you have the money as a regular Jamaican, you can buy it. It's not like they're saying, oh, we're gonna do it specifically for returning residents. But I do think that that should be a situation, right? For example, you have a piece of property and you say, okay, you're creating a community for returning residents, people who are not in Jamaica, and you're now going to cater for that demographic, right? And you just build houses, and you know that these communities are for returning residents, and they wait I say they are secured, they're of a certain lifestyle, certain amenities are there, so that once you come back, you don't have to worry about certain things, right? But again, you will have people who go for them, and you have people who won't go for them. So half does not want six at all, right? I don't understand why the prices in US when not all returning residents are coming from the US. Yeah, that's a question to answer. Why not in a Canadian dollar, right? Why is it not in pound? Well, why? Them dollar the strong still, But anyways, you get the point. Alright, you get the point. Yeah, the next question now. Next question. Alright, next question. Do you think returning residents, when they are buying houses, the prices are hiked up? So for example, if it is that a house is going on the market and they're thinking that they are going to target returning residents, do you think that they price it a little bit higher so that, why, there's no way to say it without sounding weird or sounding horrible, but because it's for returning resident, or they want that market, they price it high enough so that the regular Jamaican won't be able to buy it, and they put it in US dollars because they want to target the returning resident. Do you think that they hike the price for the returning resident? That's my question. Alright? Let's see. Prince Odinson. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Pricing in US dollars isn't to target returning resident. I don't know, I'm speculating. I'm speculating because it can't be for Jamaicans, like regular Jamaicans. Because if me see a house, if I'm in Jamaica and I see a house for 300,000 US, I'm not looking at it more than one time, because at the end of the day, it don't make no sense me even bother. Because if the price is 300,000 today, by tomorrow, that 300,000 has now multiplied, right? So, listen, Jamaica is not a US territory. Why that hard to say? They said the price aren't increased because of returning residents. Odinson, I don't know. I think it is. I think it is to some extent, because the impression that is there is that you guys can afford it, right? You guys can afford it. That's the notion. Um, some people can, some people can't, but it's a question to ask, right? The US dollar is the reason currency of the world, although US dollar is the reserve currency of the world, although it's not the most valuable. It is the most commonly used, is it? Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. It is the most commonly used currency. But why? Why though? Why? Why? I think that is because of marketing, you know. It holds better value as if the cost is relayed in use. What? Okay, I guess you're saying US dollars, right? So cost in, I don't know what you're saying. I think something is missing there. So basically what you're saying is because the US dollar value will not drop. Once they price it in the US dollars, it holds that price. But on the flip side, because the US dollar is so volatile as it relates to the Jamaican dollar, like if you look at the Jamaican dollar today and compare it to the US dollar today and then go back to tomorrow and do the same thing, you'll see that there's a huge difference. So, you know, should they be really doing that? I don't think that they should be doing that. I think that they should be quoting in Jamaican dollars. Why is there NHT? That's a good question. Yeah, ask them that. Ask them that. The market is open for all who can afford to buy. Holding for returning residents to purchase means paying more as the build was done on a loan. Well, I don't think they hold it. I think what they do, they price it high. I think they price it, well, let's not say they price it high because I don't really know that, right? Let's just say once they put it in US dollars, the regular Jamaicans not going to look at it too much, right? Because I can tell you, if I go to buy a house and it's quoted in US dollars, I'm not buying it. I'm just not buying it, right? Why? Because, I mean, once I'm in Jamaica, buying, right? So if I'm overseas and I can afford it, then sure, why not? But I'm not gonna buy it right now if I see the price in US dollars, because by tomorrow that price change. Jizzy J, you're asking how am I doing? I'm doing great. I've been really tired though, because you know I have a lot going on during the week. Even right now, I'm very tired, right? Right, I'm very tired, but I'm here with you guys, right? It's a losing competition. Losing for who? Remember, you know, the developer build the unit, and it is going to sell one way or another. The only thing is, when is it going to sell, right? So the developers don't really lose in that sense, but I get what you mean, right? As a young person coming out of university, you have not been exposed to other countries, so the dollar value that you're exposed to is the Jamaican dollar, and to buy a house in US dollars kind of rough, right? Even land, you see some lands are being quoted in US dollars, and what you find is that these lands are very expensive in areas that you don't think that the land would be expensive. They're being overpriced in some situation, right? They say buying a home in America for the same price in Jamaica will open your eyes. Jamaica chest too high, like the housing price. but there's a difference between buying land, buying a house in the US and buying a house in Jamaica, right? Look at it this way. When you buy a house in Jamaica and you're a resident of Jamaica, Jamaica can't really kick you out and repossess that at the end of the day. But if you are a Jamaican living in the US and you buy a piece of property, the US can always revoke your visa at some point, right? Them can take it away at any point they want, if they feel like, right? So them can revoke your citizenship if them feel like, right? Do you do designs for cabins and cottages? Good question. Here's the thing. And here I try not to speak about the design and drawing and what I say, the services that I offer, because I want you to go to the website and you'll see all of the services that I offer. It's about giving back to returning residents, right? And having that conversation so that somebody is having that conversation. So, you know, reach out to me. One, and two, the answer is I've never done a design for a cabin or a cottage in particular, right? So no, the answer is no. Am I limited? No. Is my team limited? No, right? The American economy has the most consumption of goods and services worldwide. That makes the value strong and stable. Yeah, that can be debated, but I guess to put it this way, I try not to focus too much on the American economy. Why? Because I believe that I should be focusing on my economy, the economy that I'm in. I don't really have an interest in their economy that much, although I know that it affects our economy, right? So don't get me wrong. Wow. So you say the only time the seller is aware that it's a returning resident is when the contact is made, and that time the returning resident has seen the price. No, you're looking at it from the end perspective, but I'm talking about from the start, as in when the developer is doing the development, because you shouldn't be doing something unless you have already finished it in your mind, right? So when the developer started out and said, okay, I'm going to build this apartment, do you think he starts out saying, okay, my market is returning residents, right? And I'm going to design and build these houses mainly for returning residents, right? So that's something that you have to think about, right? People need to stop comparing North America real estate to Jamaica. I think that Jamaica's real estate is going to be somewhat higher because you're in a tropical island. It's very beautiful. You can walk out a door and you're taking some sun and, you know, go up on the beach and all of them stuff there, and the people them welcoming and all kind of stuff. So I think that that's one of the reasons why a lot of people come back to Jamaica, or even people of other countries are so interested in coming back to Jamaica and buying up properties, right? So is Mexico. When you call me out to the man. So is Mexico. I've never been to Mexico. I hope I get to go there someday. Right? I would love to go there. But yeah, I get your point. But I mean, you have to compare it. You have to compare it at the end of the day, because otherwise, how are you going to improve? You get what I mean? So I think we need the comparison, especially as it relates to people that are coming back home, because at the end of the day, if we don't compare it and see what we're actually getting, how can we say we're getting something good or bad, right? So, but let me ask you this though. With that comparison, do you think that the available housing solutions are appropriate, safe, and secure for returning residents? Because when I look at it, unless you're paying top dollar, meaning you're paying some really good money for your apartment and you make sure that you look into it, you're not necessarily getting something that you're secured, right? I can be wrong. I can be wrong. I'm just speculating. I'm just here to ask the questions so that you can think about it, right? So some of these apartments, some of these housing solutions, they're not necessarily as secure, while some are. So one of the things that I like about these housing solutions most of the time is that they have a security post, and some of them have 24-hour security. So from that standpoint, I think that they are appropriate and secure for returning residents. The problem is that sometimes when a returning resident do not investigate where they're buying or have somebody to look at it for them, it becomes a problem, right? It becomes a problem. Because you buy into areas, especially where you see they're selling the properties very cheap, or they're subdividing the land, the developer is subdividing the land to sell it. Think about it. Think about it. Like, where you see, like, why the developer don't just develop the land and put some houses on it and sell it to you? That's because chances are, sometimes, I'm not saying in all cases, I'm saying sometimes the developer does not see it as an area that if they develop it, it's going to be, wait I say, lucrative for them, because it's going to be very difficult to sell, or it's going to take long to sell, right? So whenever you see developers subdividing land and selling and not necessarily developing the land, because if they develop it they make more money, right? That's sometimes a situation is there where you need to really think about it, right? Because I've seen schemes that when them subdivide the property, right? When them subdivide the property, they don't develop it, or there's no control over who comes in, you know. So anybody can come in, and it's not going to develop in the ideal way that you think. So you may think that road infrastructure is going to be in the next 10 years or 2 years. No, I don't agree with that, none at all, because these people are not coming in to wait a second, to build fast, right? So that's going to put you as somebody who is looking to build in this area. Security is not going to be in place. The houses are going to be in some very bad condition, right? Very bad condition. Listen, there was once a mindset for returning residents to build on a land far in the bushes. I don't know why I want to do that. Now they are looking for Richmond type setup. Yeah, I agree with that. But why would you want to go build in the bushes? I've been to a property where, well, I have to go back a Jesus chair just to reach the property, and I'm like, yo, I would never live there. I would never consider going there to live. Why are you doing that to yourself? If something happened to you, people don't know if nothing happened to you in a long while. Remember, being in a community setting is a good thing, as long as it is a good community. You don't want to come back to Jamaica and you put yourself in some deep rural place where there is no facility, no amenities, nothing, and you're just by yourself. Remember, when you get older, you need people around you. You need that companionship. So I don't advise doing that, right? I don't advise doing that. Right? When subdivision takes place. There's a need safety solution for returning resident as well. It's unknown. We're doing some marketing there though, man. Yeah, I think returning residents need to really think about safety solutions. Yes, I agree. You should always remember your safety is your responsibility as a returning resident. Don't go certain places. The dance thing, I think, where some people think to come back to go to, don't think about that. Don't go there. The other day, somebody came back and went to a street dance and lose their life just like that, right? Man, just flying and gonna dance. So I don't even think about those type situations anymore, right? They say the way the price is high now, you'd think that all of the solutions are for returning resident. Why? I'm tempted to say that as well. Wayne Smith, you think that they're way overpriced? I agree. Let's see what's going on here. I'm way behind with these comments. Let me see. Alright, so yeah, you need to be thinking about your security. You need to be thinking about, is this location appropriate, and is it secured? As I say, I've seen situations where returning residents go to some locations that I wonder, right? I wonder what are they thinking when they're buying these properties. And let me tell you this: if you're buying a property in a location where you start to zinc fence, or you're seeing zinc fence, you're seeing Manpan Corner, you research the area. I do it all the while. If I go to a property for a returning resident, I just go online and I search crime, and I just type in the location, right? And murders and the location, and I see information come up as it relates to news, to see what has been happening in this area, right? So most of the time when a developer goes to a location, he's looking at the potential for that property to sell, right? They're not necessarily concerned too much about the safety of the area, because that is a secondary thought, right? Will a developer go into a community that is just downright a horrible location as it relates to security? No, because he knows that he's not going to get his return, right? But when he's designing or when he's developing the location, he's not really thinking about that as a number one priority, right? So that's something to think about, because I've seen developers do houses on Waltham Park Road, where I've seen housing solution in Duane Park area that is close to a somewhat volatile community down there. So I don't think the developer is really zooming in on, okay, so look at it this way: the developer is not buying the property and saying, okay, is this a good area as it relates to crime and violence? No or yes. Are they thinking about, okay, what was the last murder that was committed within this area? They're not thinking about that. Developers go in to maximize, to buy a property, to sell, to make a profit, right? That's the reality of it. So you, as the returning resident, you need to think about these things. Look at it, look at the area, look at what type of environment is it in. say Mountain View, right? Mountain View. Yeah, I've seen houses in Solution within that area as well. That I'm like, I would not necessarily want to go there. No, I'm not redlining any community or anything like that. I'm just saying that I personally would not go there to live like that, right? It may be a good community, it may be a bad community. Who knows? But the reality is, I personally wouldn't go there. I also see where returning residents are going to some deep rural. They not even have water. They not even have light, right? And they are going there to set up houses and to really live, right? They don't have roads. They don't. If something happened to them, you have to go through some cow common. You have to go over some hills and valleys. I'm saying, why do that, right? When you're coming from a first world country, right, where you have all of these amenities to your access, to your access. You're able to access all of these amenities, and then you're doing the complete opposite and putting yourself in a deep rural situation where you have none of these amenities at all, and then you end up in a problem, because if something happens to you in the long run, I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but I'm saying if it happens, nobody can reach you, right? Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself, right? So, the questions are there housing solutions specifically for returning residents? The answer is maybe, or maybe not. Who knows? It's really dependent on the developer at the end of the day and why he's going into development, right? Are returning residents charged extra when buying properties? There is no proof for that, but I believe that house prices are very high, and because most people in Jamaica, most developers are kind of targeting returning residents, it may appear that way, right? Third question was, do you think the available housing solutions are safe, secure, and appropriate? Most of the times they are safe, most of the times they are secure, most of the times, in my opinion, they're kind of appropriate, right? But don't leave it to the developer to make that decision for you, or to make those accommodations for you. You as the returning resident need to look, right? Look for yourself. Look if there is a security post. Look what the road is like. Is it a one-way in, one-way out? Look if at certain point in the day you're seeing man pan corner with spliffing at them hand and dig out and look at that, right? Don't just take it that the developer already thought about that. You yourself need to be vigilant, right? You need to be vigilant. I can't emphasize that enough. Be vigilant, right? So that's really the my views on those topics, right? Or on those questions. So if you have any other view, you're always open to comment, right? Who is this now? Nico Palmer, big up yourself. Yes, a bless up AJAWI and the audience. Thank you for that, man. We're tuning out now. I'm giving close to an hour. It's a nice little discussion around the topic of today. I believe that returning residents needs to start requesting the government to make sure them budget them have something allocated for them. Right? And then if you start asking them questions, ask the government, man. And this is why the channel is so important. Who knows? Maybe somebody in Parliament starts see the channel and then say, oh, maybe we need to include them in the budget and reserve some of these houses for returning residents. Right? Some returning residents rather not live on each other as they have for the many years. Huh? so and for 35 million, a private building makes sense. Oh, you mean on top, as in apartments? Oh, I get what you mean. I get what you mean. So, yeah, yeah, $35 million for one apartment when you don't have a yard space, you don't have, you can't build on it. It's just that 35 million or even 50 million. Wow, townhouse sounds better, yeah, because you can build on a townhouse. So at the end of the day, I think a townhouse is always a better option than to buy an apartment. That's my view. Because apartments, you're very restricted with apartments. Always remember that. You cannot make certain noise in an apartment. You cannot add on to your apartment. You're not supposed to even bore a hole in the wall with your apartment. To hang up a picture, you better get some strips where you can paste on the wall and hang up your mirror or hang up your pictures. So apartments are very restricting. You cannot add on, or you should not. What else? Yeah, there's just a lot of limitations, and it comes with an added cost. So you have to pay strata at the end of the day, right? Yeah, so yeah, they're built uniform, so they're not going to allow you to do these things. They're not going to allow you to build onto them. But for the townhouses, you can always build on them. You can always, well, in some situations you cannot modify the front, but you can always modify the back. You can always build up to the side, etc. But in an apartment, you cannot do that. So paying 35 million for that, I don't see myself doing that. But yet then again, who knows? Sometimes if you have the money, you can just do it. Right? If you have the money, why not? Oh, what is strata? HOA fees. Yeah, strata is like, all right. So within an apartment, right? You have they establish. Did I say? I would say an organization, or it's maintenance. So you as the owner of the property or of the apartment, you pay that fee, and it covers like cutting grass, pruning trees, paying the security guard. What did I say? If you have a pool, to maintain the pool, to sweep the grounds, it covers all of that. To paint the buildings, it covers all of those things. But sometimes they're very high depending on the location. As I said before, I was speaking to somebody already, and they were saying that their strata is $35,000 monthly, right? Monthly. So that's like, that's a lot. That's a rent. That's rent. Basically, you're renting the property, right? GZJ. Again, I don't really speak about drawings and those stuff. This is a session to give back to you. So if you want to know about that, you book an appointment and we talk, right? But to answer your question, no, you can't build no house, no 5-bedroom, 5-bathroom house for $20 million. That's in a fairy tale world. Sorry to say, but it's just the reality. Right? Go use the calculator, man. Go use the construction calculator on my website. And people, let me tell you, if you're going to call me and say, oh, quick question, can I build this size house with this money? I'm going to tell you to go use the calculator. So it doesn't make no sense if you call me, because you call me because you want some value. I give back on the channel on a Sunday and during the week. So, right? you need to support the thing, right? Support the business, man. If you're supporting my business, I appreciate it, right? Why so much house? 5 bedroom, 5 bathroom. Good question. Anyways, guys, thank you for joining today. I really appreciate you. I gave my 1 hour as promised. Last week I wasn't here because sometimes I'm just burnt out, tired, and I have a lot doing. Remember, even though I'm supposed to be doing schoolwork to finish off some stuff final year, right? So yeah, I took the time out to come speak to you because I really appreciate you. All right, guys, remember, check out my website. Go check out my website. I'm updating it every day to make it better for you. I just updated my services section, so when you go to my services section, you'll see some new stuff, right? So if you're supporting the business, just know that you're putting food on my table. So I appreciate you, and I will always appreciate you. All right. Thanks to those that support my business. For those returning residents who call me to do property inspection for them, and you end up buying, it makes me feel so good. So please give me a review on Google. If you didn't buy, you found out something that made you not buy. I'm happy that I was able to help you to find out these things, so that you don't put yourself in a situation that you don't like. Right? Remember, whenever I do drone surveys, I do it by unbiased as possible. So I have no interest in it. I just do it because you want. All right. Anyways, thanks again for watching. Thanks again for liking. Thanks again for sharing this video. Thanks for the support so far. I really appreciate you. See you next week. Peace out. See you next time. All right. Love you guys.